All right, starting on day 2, okay? Supplies that you're gonna need, obviously you're gonna need needle tool, tongue depressor, and then at least a blue rib. I got the small one also, it's a little bit more flexible. And then I grabbed the metal rib, and I'm gonna show you some cleanup techniques and that kind of stuff. And then of course, a cup of water and a sponge, and then I'll also need a comb, all right? And then I've got a whole bag of clay here. That's just for demonstration purposes. You don't need to bring an entire bag over to your table. Just grab a good sized chunk to begin with and make sure that you wedge it before you get started. So I'm gonna do that before I even open up and look and see what my project looks like from what it was yesterday when I was doing my demonstration, okay? So I'm gonna wedge quite a bit of clay because I'm gonna use all of this clay to make sure that I've got enough for what I'm gonna be doing, okay? Very important, make sure you wedge your clay. This will make sure that it's nice and consistent. And the clay that's over there, a lot of times, especially for you guys, is clay that was used in the class period prior to you guys getting here. And then that is then kind of pounded into a block, and you don't know if there's some firm clay in there or some soft clay in there. So we want to make sure it's nice and consistent. Not to mention air bubbles, okay? Air bubbles are very bad for firing, so we want to make sure that it's wedged good, okay? So that should be about right? And you can see right here and right here, those are air bubbles that were in the clay. So if I just cut this off and there's air bubbles there, there's a good chance there was air bubbles in here before I started wedging it, okay? The wedging it is going to help make sure that it stays nice and clean. We can check that, and that's what you want to see. No air bubbles, no voids, no nothing like that. So we can go ahead and start making our smooth coil out of this large chunk, okay? Again, nice big thick coils. Once it starts to kind of flatten out, all right, just go ahead and flatten it out a little bit. Again, you can use the palm of your hand. You can use your hand like a hammer, okay? A couple of different ways of doing it. Biggest thing is down to that magic thickness that we're gonna be using, which is about the thickness of your needle tool handle, okay? Or you can use your finger, all right? That's usually about good. Or a Sharpie pen. That's something that's also very similar to about the thickness that we want. We want a little bit of thickness so that when we stretch the clay and we listen to our clay talking to us, okay, that we make sure that it's nice and even. Tap that end flat, make sure I got a nice flat surface to begin with. Cut the ends off, so I've got nice straight edges, okay? And I'm ready to go ahead and begin, all right? Okay, we'll take a look at this in the next one, but just as wanted to show you guys how to get started.